All right, what's up, guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, guys, we are going to be cracking into Red Blue Marco. We're going to be doing a pretty big deep dive on this leader. Because, guys, I will say, this leader, I probably got the most amount of questions about this leader ever since it's been spoiled. Like, hey, man, when are you going to do a video on Red Blue Marco? Yeah, hey, what are your thoughts on Red Blue Marco? Well, guys, your cries have been heard. And you're going to hear what I have to think about Red Blue Marco in this video, that's for sure. This will probably be a longer video than normal, but we have a lot to talk about. Because one thing that I do want to mention before we get started, guys, is this is what I love about card games, is when you get a fresh, brand new leader with a lot of brand new, fresh cards to play with, and then it's totally unexplored, and we can go from there. And we can learn together, see what the best decks are together, see what the best utility is, and all this, everything else. Hopefully y'all see what I'm saying. And this is an actual feeling of that, right? Because this is a largely unexplored leader. It's not even out yet in the East. So so we are going to be getting into this and, you know, taking a deep dive into this, into what this leader might be able to do, some potential it might have. So let me, guys, read to y'all what we're going to be getting into today. It's a slightly different format from my standard video. First, we're going to go over the leader. We're going to talk about, I'm going to talk about the direction I think he should go based on synergy he already has that we know about. But then we're going to look at some new supporting cards that have been released. Like, there might be a few new spoilers coming out still at the time we're recording this video. But, excuse me, I'm putting this video out on May 16th. And May 25th is when when OP-08 goes live in the East. So I think I have all the spoilers covered. If not, you know, I'll just say something in the comment section below if a new one comes out that I think is really good or something. But we're going to talk about all the supporting cards we've seen so far, even cards that were released today at the time we're recording the video. Then we're going to go over some deck lists from the East, because they've been proxying up and playtesting these new decks over in the East nonstop, guys. And I'm going to leave you guys down in the comment section of this video. I'm going to leave about 20 games of Red Blue Sabo being played live over in the East, but over the tabletop with proxy cards and things like that. But guys, it's an extensive list. We're talking games with Enel, Boa, Perona, Bonnie, King, Gecko, Black Yellow Luffy, Lucci, and Red Purple Law, and a few others. Guys, it's an extensive list. Y'all check that out when you get a chance to. It's gonna be pinned in the comment section of this video. Okay, let's keep going. What else? Then we're gonna do a game on the sim. We're gonna check out one game on the sim, and then lastly, we're gonna go over the deck list that I'm using on the sim, and I'll give you guys my final thoughts from there, and like some you know, again, just kind of talking about some potential direction in the future once we've had more time to explore this leader and to see what's going on in the format, what we need to counter, and things like that. Okay, so you know what we're getting into. Let's dive straight into this, guys. We have a lot to get into. Real quick, before we get started, I do want to mention that, like I said, this will be released in the East in about a week and a half. Y'all see right here, May 25th. This video is coming out on May 16th. So literally just a week and a half away, okay? Not even, I don't think. Okay, math is hard. So back to what we were doing. So guys, I've got an entire slideshow of stuff we're going to talk about today. So let's get straight into this. First, we have to talk about the leader. What are my thoughts on the leader? Okay, so the leader, it's a red-blue, 5,000 power, 4-life leader, dual-colored leader. Very standard here, very standard. Whitebeard Pirates type. So that's really nice, right? Immediately what should be going through your head? Oh, it's red and Whitebeard Pirates type leader, 7-cost ace. That's immediately what goes into my head. Okay, but listen to this effect, guys. Dawn ×1, activate main once per turn, draw 1 card. Then place 1 card from your hand on the top or bottom of your deck, and then give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power for this turn. Whew, that is a nice effect, guys. That is a really nice effect. And think about this. Now you always have a turn 1 play. If you're going first or second, it does not matter. You can always activate this ability, because it's just Dawn ×1, activate main, once per turn, draw a card. And then you're going to put a card on the top or bottom. And then you can give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000. So you don't have to give any character minus 2,000 if you don't want to. So very nice. Very excellent effect. Very, like, generically strong effect. And that right there is not limited to any kind of type. Like, it's not looking for Whitebeard Pirate type cards. It's not looking for Straw Hat cards. It is just a generic, blanket, powerful effect. And minus 2,000 power is nothing to scoff at. We will talk, that will come up. So with that in mind, what direction do I think this deck should go based on, like, the current card pool we already know about in the West? I'm immediately leaning towards, you ready for this, guys? This might come as a surprise, mid-range. Because, guys, like, there's a theme within the deck already whoops. Let me go to the next slide real quick. So you can see there's already a theme built into this deck of I'm going to reduce your power and I'm going to KO you based on certain cards. Don't worry, guys. We will talk about this Rayleigh card. For those who do not know what this is from OP-08. We will talk about this in the video, but just keep it in the back of your mind for now. It's here for a reason. There are cards that reduce power and KO based off of that, right? Like Rayleigh is one of them we'll talk about later. Everyone knows about 5-cost Marco. Sorry, guys, my head's in the way of the effect. Let me drop my head out of the way for a little bit. Notice this card here, guys. Pause and read what the effect does if you don't already know what it does. Okay? This card is very, very, very important. So from there, now let me put my face back on. This right here, guys, look at this curve. This is what makes me lean towards a odd curve, or excuse me, a mid-range deck. Because if we're going first, like I said, we can always use our leader's effect to fit our leader's effect to look at the top card of our deck. You know, well, we draw the card, and then we arrange it from there. But look at this, guys. In a perfect world, we could potentially go turn 1 Ezo, top 5 Searcher, turn 2 Namule. This is a new card we're going to be talking about, but this is like a draw 2 cycle card. It's like draw 2 and then put 2 cards back on the top or bottom of your deck in any order. Turn 3 straight into Marco, turn 4 Ace, turn 5 an incredible interaction in the deck. It's probably not super practical to do it just like this, but at least playing Newgate out. If we play out Edward Newgate, we get the value right away. But on 10 Dawn turn, if we wait 1 turn, we can set our top life card with our leader. Because remember, guys, let me go back to leader one more time. Draw 1 card, then place 1 card from your hand on the top or bottom of your deck. So you get to choose what card goes on top of your deck. Well, this new card from OP-06 for us, Sanji, and Edward Newgate, they're about to be best pals, right? They're about to be best buddies. Very, very powerful interaction there to be able to bust down 2 9-cost, 9,000 power plus bodies, give your leader plus 2,000 power for the turn. Just massive. This is a massive, incredibly strong natural curve. And there are other cards that can fit in this 3-cost spot, like Vista. There's another card that we're going to look at today that can fit in the 5 spot. The 5-cost spot, like Port Gosti Ace. There's 2 new Ace cards that are 5-cost cards. We're going to look at both of those. 7-cost is pretty exclusively Ace. Excuse me. But yeah. But it doesn't end there. Think about if you go second. Now, I've mentioned this with like Katakuri, because I think Katakuri is like one of the best examples of like probably the best mid-range deck we've seen so far in the game, as far as versatility goes, power level goes, and just everything like that. Well, guys, if you go second, you still get to use this curve. But you get to add your leader's effect to every one of these turns. So yes, you can go first if you want to and still not be punished because of how strong this natural curve is. But you can also go second and still use this while also getting increased effects from your leader's effect, right? It just extra value. On top of that, there's not exactly a bad even curve either. We're looking at turn 1 Haruta, turn 2 Marco the blocker. Probably don't want to play him early because he can get popped when it's early on. There's a new card we're going to be looking at, Jozu, right there in the middle. 6-cost Jozu. New card, Rayleigh, we're going to be looking at. And a new card, I think they're calling him Tin Beard or Blue Beard. I don't know what they're calling him. I've heard a few different things. But the 10-cost new Edward Newgate is going to be a great finisher for the deck. We'll talk about that in just a moment. So the direction I think we need to be taking this deck, if we choose to stick with Red-Blue Whitebeard Pirates type, is mid-range. Just curve out naturally, perfectly. And then from there, excuse me, and I do apologize for the quality of some of these cards, guys, because they're not officially released yet. They've just been leaked and spoiled. Okay, and that's another reason, you know, join the Discord if you haven't already, because you can hang it on there, and we see these cards as soon as they pop up. Okay, so again, I think the direction of this deck needs to be mid-range, okay? Lots and lots of just tempo, and then once we get to the end of the game, we're going to be comboing cards like Sanji with Newgate and just completely dominating the board. Really, really good stuff there. Now we're going to look at some spoilers. We're moving into the spoiler territory, guys, for those who, you know, it's probably too late for that, right? It's probably way too late for the spoiler warning, but y'all get what's going on. We're about to look at a bunch of cards coming out in OP-08. Some of these cards were spoiled today. So let's just dive straight into this. And please tell me what y'all think in the comment section below, guys. I always love to hear y'all's opinion on these cards and thoughts on them. First up is Atmos. Excuse me. This is a 4-cost, 5,000 power character with a 1k counter, and on play, you may reveal 2 cards from your hand with Whitebeard Pirates included in their types, and then return up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less to its owner's hand. This card is okay, but I wish it was based more on power, because that's what we're trying to do, right? That is a major theme that we're going to be exploring with this deck, is like power reduction and KO based off of power alongside our natural progression, our natural curve. So this card is not bad. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but it's not exactly what we're going for. But again, it's still a great effect, right? It's still a very solid effect. Okay, next up is Jozu. Now, this card is very interesting. 6 cost, 7,000 power, 1,000 counter. That's already very nice statted, and it's Whitebeard Pirates type. On play, you may return one of your characters other than this card to your hand. Okay, on play, you're going to return one of your characters to your hand. And then you can return up to one cost 6 or lower character to the original owner's hand. Again, it's weird that it's based off of cost instead of power, but it's still not a bad effect. And this one has way more utility for us because we can play this out and return back like an Otama. You see what I'm saying? We can return an Otama back to our hand, or an Izo back to our hand, or even potentially a 5-cost Marco to pop something later in the game. There are tons of potential there. Just consider this for an 8-Dawn play. Say they have a character that's tapped on the board like a Gecko Moria. Well, one thing we can do, and I know Gecko Moria is 8 costs. Bear with me. Hear out my example. What we can do with this card is first we could play out an Otama, minus 2,000 to the Gecko Moria, put him down to 7,000. Use our leader effect, put him down to 5,000. Play out this guy to bounce back our Otama, and we could bounce one of their 6-cost cards out of the way, like maybe a Sabo or something, or a Borsellino, just bounce it back to their hand. And then we can start attacking into the 5,000 power Gecko Moria, you know, because of all the cost reduction and all that. It's just one example, by the way. It's just one example we could do. I think this card has really solid utility, and I think it'll be really good as a 2 or a 3 of in the deck. We'll have to see. We got to keep our eyes on this card. Very high. It's a potentially very high value card. Next up is King Du. This is a 4-cost, 4,000 power, 2K counter. That is all I needed to hear, to be honest with you, is that it's a searchable Whitebeard Pirates 2K counter. But it does still have an activate main. Activate main once per turn. You may reveal 2 cards with Whitebeard Pirates included in their types from your hand. This character gains plus 2,000 power until the end of turn. That's really nice, right? So he's almost like a 4-cost 6K, 2K counter. That's very, very solid. And notice this new... This is a whole new idea that they're exploring within Whitebeard Pirates, where you can get this effect if you reveal 2 cards that are Whitebeard Pirates. So the same thing just happened with this Atmos card, right? Reveal these 2 Whitebeard Pirate types cards, and you know, and then you'll be able to get this effect. So very interesting. But guys, this card is almost 100% going in the deck because it is a 2K counter Whitebeard Pirates searchable card. Excellent. Definitely going to want to run this eventually, but this, if I'm not mistaken, guys, this is one of the ones that came out today. You won't see this in, I don't think you'll see this in any of the lists we're looking at today, but that's just an easy include, right? That's an easy fix to any deck. Okay, Namuel. This card is really interesting to me, but it might be a little too slow. Hear me out. So let's read the effect real quick, or read the character. It's a 3-cost, 2,000 power, 1K counter blocker. That's fine, because, you know, it's just a 2K counter blocker. We're not trying to do much with that. But listen to the on play. Draw 2 cards, then return 2 cards from your hand to the top or bottom of the deck in the order of your choice. So this effect is not bad at all. There's nothing wrong with this effect, but we're kind of doing a miniature version of this with our leader. And again, I'm not saying this is a bad card. And again, I mean, you guys saw I put it in the natural curve of the deck, like 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 curve. It's perfect, right? But I will say, for my playtesting and the way that I build decks, this might be good as a 2-of, right? We'll have to see, but I feel like this is good as a 2-of utility card. You almost don't even want to play this on curve. I think you would rather play this later in the game to fix your top 2 cards, and then you can also do your leader effect on top of that. That's just a 4-Dawn investment, and now you have a blocker as well. But we'll see. Because here's the thing. A 3-cost blocker with 2,000 power... That thing is not sticking on the board under any circumstance. There is nothing that can keep this card on the board. It's just like a free reason for your opponent to use KO. So, you know, not a bad card, but also I wish it almost had some kind of protection rather than the draw 2 and something else, but that's okay. Can't be too greedy. Okay, now this is a card. Notice how I have this bordered. This is already in the actual database of the game. So this is a card that's already out in the East. This is from OP-07. This is Portgosti Ace, 5 cost, 6,000 power, 1K counter, blocker, Whitebeard Pirates type, of course. On play, draw 2 and place 2 cards from your hand at the top or bottom of your deck in any order. So again, we're getting that same type of effect, like with the leader has a draw 1 version of that. Namuel and Ace have a draw 2 version of that. Now this card I like way better. because this is a 5 cost 6k and a 1k counter. So that's already way more resilient. That's going to, like if you're playing against red, purple, law, they have to use a Gordon to get this off the board, right? If you're playing against some type of deck that's running black, they're going to have to combo this with something like maybe a Tempest Kick or, you know, a Helm Mepo. I'm not saying they can't do it. I'm just saying it requires more to do. So it's harder for your opponent to deal with that and other stuff on the board, right? It's just, and it can swing. If they don't deal with this card, excuse me, if they don't deal with this card, well, now it's swinging. So this is a very solid card. I do like this in the deck quite a bit. Now there's a new ace we got to look at as well from OP-08. That's a 5 cost 6k 1k counter. This one, Whitebeard Pirates, of course, on play, reveal the top 1 card of your deck. You may put it into play, or you may put into play up to 1 character with the type Whitebeard Pirates and a cost of 4 or less. After this, return the remaining card to the top or bottom of the deck. So understand, that was a weird translation. Let me explain it. You're going to reveal the top card of your deck, which remember, you can set that with your leader's effect, right? You're going to be able to set that card with your leader's effect. And if it is a 4 cost or lower Whitebeard Pirates card, you can play it for free. And then after that, you can just return the remaining cards to the top or bottom of your deck. You can either keep it on top if it wasn't a 4 cost, or you can put it on the bottom if you don't want it. So very, very solid utility card. It has tempo to it. But this is, yet again, I'm not super in love with this one. Yes, you can randomly just get a good card from the top, but at the same time, it's like, okay, I would rather have the card that fixes things like this one. I would rather have the 5 cost 6k 1k counter that is a straight up blocker, and now I get to draw 2 and arrange 2 the way I want them. I kind of prefer that, and I say that because, remember, we already want to run a 5 cost Marco in the deck. So now what's the other 5 cost card you want to run? Some people might want to run this card, and that's completely fine. That is absolutely fine. But for me personally, I actually like this one a lot better. I like this one quite a bit better. Okay, and maybe you try to run all of them. I don't know. We'll have to see over time. Or like run 2 of each or something. Excuse me. Okay, next up is Speed Jill. This is a 4 cost, 5,000 power Whitebeard Pirates type character with counter. On play, reveal the top card of your deck, then place it on the top or bottom of your deck. If that card has Whitebeard Pirates type, this character gains rush this turn. Sorry, I messed that up. If that card has Whitebeard Pirates included in its type, there we go. This character gains rush this turn. So this is potentially a 4 cost 5k rusher. And remember, you're revealing the top card of your deck, so of course you're going to be able to, you know, set this with your leader. Okay, very, very easy to do. And who knows, there is some potential here. Y'all hear me out here. There is potential, whoops, I gotta zoom out, with this card. If you, like, let's just say, hang on, all right, let me cook, hang on. If you set your top 2 cards with this guy or Namuel, and let's just say you're on 10 Dawn, just so we can actually do this effect. If you set your top 2 cards with like I said, with Ace here or Namuel, the turn, you know, this turn, like the current turn we're on, like play this card out, draw 2, and then set your top 2 cards, and then you play out Ace, well, then you'll be able to play, from Ace, you'll be able to play out Speed Jill. You see what I'm saying? And then you can make sure that's a Whitebeard Pirates type card on the top so that it gets rush. So that is one interesting, you know, interaction there. But it's a little gimmicky. It feels a little bit gimmicky. But at the same time, you can do it. It's not unrealistic. So very interesting. Y'all tell me what y'all think about Speed Jill in the comment section below. Next up, we got Thatch. Okay, we got a 4 cost, 5,000 power, 1k counter, Whitebeard Pirates type. If this character were to be KO'd or removed from play by your opponent's effect. Okay, so if he's KO'd or removed from play from your opponent's effect, not from battle, from effects, you may place this character into the trash and then draw 1 card instead. So notice that they don't get to bottom deck it, right? It's going to go into the trash and then you get to draw a card instead. So this card has good resilience, and that's going to be another common theme, like a sub-theme within the deck. Marco is very hard to KO, right? Like the actual, the 4 cost blocker and the 5k, or the 5 cost pop 3000. Those cards have a lot of resilience. Well, if you include a card like Thatch in here, well, now you have all these cards that's like, no, sorry, you can't KO my character without giving me some type of benefit. So think about it. If you're going against any kind of mono black deck like Gecko Moria or Lucci, you do have some strong advantages against them where they can't just pop your characters like they want to, like they normally could. At least some of these characters, right? Some of these that we're looking at. Overall, I think this is a solid card, but it really is a, it's almost like a 4 cost 5k vanilla, because they can choose to just ignore it as well, right? That's another option. And I don't think it's big enough for it to warrant like some type of, you know, response. they could just ignore it and attack into it whenever you attack the first time. I'm not a huge fan of this card, but I don't think it's bad either. Okay, next up we got some events. This one is, you can't take our king this early on. Whitebeard Pirates, it's a 3-cost event. Counter, give your leader or up to one of your characters plus 3,000 power for this battle. Then, reveal the top card of your deck and play up to 1 cost 3 or less character with Whitebeard Pirates included in its types. Place the remaining card on the top or bottom of your deck. So, I actually wish this was the opposite or stronger. Like, I actually wish that this was like, give your leader plus 3,000 and give one of your opponent's characters minus 3,000. Because for Deathwing, it's a 3-cost 6k, and what I said would also be a 3-cost 6k. You know what I'm saying? And this card does not even have a trigger, and it can only play a 3-cost or lower character. And yes, you can set it there with your leader's effect. I'm not stupid. I'm not oblivious to that. But this is not a deck. Like I said, I actually think the way you should build this deck, and I could be wrong. Y'all tell me what you think in the comment section below. I think you're going to want to build this deck as more of like a tempo mid-range deck. So I'm not leaving any Dawn active at the end of the turn. Now, I might leave like 1 or 2 Dawn active tops if I have double Radical Beam in my hand, or like a Radical Beam and a guard point, depending. But for three Dawn, I need a little more for what I'm trying to do with this kind of deck. So like I said, if this was like a give your leader or up to one of your characters plus 3,000 power and then minus 3,000 for one of your opponent's characters, then do this, then I think it'd be solid. You know, then I think it could be very good. Or even if they, at that point, if they drop it down to plus 2,000 for your character, minus 2,000 for your opponent's character, then I think it'd be pretty good. But as is, I'm a little bit underwhelmed by this. It's not bad. You can still combo this with a Vista. You can still combo this with a Namuel. You can combo this with an Ezo to get free cards on the board. I get it. I do totally understand. But I wish it was a little bit more for a 3-cost event with no trigger. That's rough. Okay, y'all tell me what you think in the comment section below, of course. Okay, this one, really cool picture here. You know, this is from a very, you know, big part in the actual story. I'm not going to spoil anything. 1 cost, thank you for loving me. 1 cost, Whitebeard Pirates type event. Now, this one does have a trigger. I'll say that first, to draw a card. I love that. Big fan of stages that, or excuse me, events that have triggers, even if it is just draw a card. Big fan. Okay, main. If your leader includes, if your leader's type includes Whitebeard Pirates in it, look at the top 3 cards of your deck. Reveal up to 1 card with Whitebeard Pirates included in its types, or Monkey D. Luffy, that's interesting, and put it into your hand. Then place the rest of the cards on the top or bottom of your deck in any order. So this is probably not as good. I mean, who knows? Who knows? Because I will, at the end of this video, we're going to talk about the direction, the future direction of the deck that I have not seen explored yet. Strawbeard, or yeah, I kind of spoiled it there. That was kind of a Freudian slip. But going down the Straw Hat crew, like going a 50-50 split, kind of like what we see right now with the Whitebeard decks now, they're like Ezo plus Nami Searcher, Whitebeard plus Strawbeard, or plus Straw Hat crew, makes it Strawbeard. We might have a very good option in the future to make this deck extremely aggressive, going tons of rushers, and a card like this, you'll be able to search up your aces with it, you'll be able to search up your 5-cost Luffy's with it. It could be pretty decent. We'll have to see. So I do think this card has some potential. And another deck that this has potential in is Blue-Yellow Ace. Could be very good in Blue-Yellow Ace. We'll have to see. Actually, it says if your leader's type includes Whitebeard Pirates. Okay, well, the leader is Ace. I'm pretty sure it has Whitebeard Pirates. But anyway, y'all correct me if I'm wrong. I can't remember off the top of my head. Okay, next up we got Phoenix Brand. I think this is the last event we're going to look at. Phoenix Brand is a 4-cost blue event. No trigger. That's right. You're asking me to put a 4-cost event in my deck that has no trigger to help it out from the stack, or you know, from the life stack. But listen to this: it's a former Whitebeard Pirates type card. Main, you may reveal 2 cards that include Whitebeard Pirates typing from your hand. That's worded weirdly. Place up to 1 cost 6 or lower character on the bottom of its owner's deck. Okay, that is interesting. It is it'll bottom deck a card that's 6 or lower if you can reveal 2 Whitebeard Pirate types cards from your hand. I'm not overwhelmed by this. I almost feel like I would rather just have a 4-cost 3,000 Worlds, and now you don't know what's in my hand, right? Because I could just get a 5 or less with that. So I'm pretty underwhelmed by this card. And y'all help me out if I'm missing something on any of these, as usual, guys. Okay, now we got the big spoilers. This is Edward Newgate. This is the new 10-cost, 12,000 power Whitebeard Pirates type character. On play, if your leader type includes Whitebeard Pirates, and you have 2 or less life cards. Okay, don't forget, you have to have 2 or less life cards. Until the end of your opponent's next turn, All of your opponent's characters cannot attack unless they first trash 2 cards from their hand or discard 2 cards from their hand. Guys, now the leader still gets to swing for free. But do you guys realize how powerful that is? It's like, okay, I'm dropping down to 10 cost 12k. Sure, attack with your leader if you want to. But if you try to attack with even a single character, you're dropping 2 cards from your hand. This card, it needs to be strong, right? Because you're tapping out to play a card like this. It does need to be strong. But this card is very solid, guys. I don't think it's broken or anything. I just think this is a very, very solid card. And this will probably... you'll probably want to run this as a 1 or 2 of in the deck. Because hear me out, guys. Like, yes, you want to curve out into the late game. But a lot of times what that means is you're actually going to want to drop like the 9-cost Whitebeard to get your character's power up and then still use your leader's effect and combo things. Like if you have the Sanji, you'll be able to do so much more. This is still a very good card. Excuse me. And if your opponent has, you know, like 4 cards left in hand, 2 to 5 cards left in hand, this card is very, very powerful. Hey, if they have 1 card, if they have no cards in hand, this card's really good because now they can only swing with their leader next turn, unless they draw a bunch somehow from like a Sanji's Pilaf or something. But against decks like Enel, I actually don't think this is that good. Because if they have you up against the ropes where they're trying to finish you this next turn, they're going to be like, oh, okay, well, I'll just, you know, trash 2 of my 10 cards and then 2 more of my 10 cards. And I get it. That does add up. But at the same time, I hope you guys see what I'm saying. This is a very powerful card. Do not misunderstand what I'm saying. But I think it has it has major pros and it has major cons, right? Whereas some cards are just better all around, where it's very unlikely that they're bad for you at any time. It is a brick in hand, so we do need to consider that when we're building the deck. So, you know, maybe include, you know, because we're going to want to run the 9-cost Whitebeard. We're going to want to run this another card we're about to look at that, you know, we're going to want to run the 7-cost Ace. So there's probably quite a bit of dead cards in hand, bricks. So we're probably also going to want to run the 0-cost event that we can trash a card and in the event to get plus 3,000. So very solid card, though. Very solid card overall. Next up, okay, so sorry, we got one more before we get to the card that I was actually referencing in the last slide. Moby Dick is back, but not the red version. We got the blue version here, and it is much, much different. Okay, during your turn, once per turn, when one of your characters with Whitebeard Pirates included in its type leaves play from an effect, and remember, this is only during your turn, draw 1 card and place 1 card from your hand on the top or bottom of your deck. So it's like if you can somehow bounce a card back to hand, right, when one of your characters with Whitebeard Pirates included in its types leaves play from an effect, draw 1 card and place 1 card from your hand on the top or bottom of your deck. Trigger play the cards. That's nice. I like when stages have trigger play the card. I think it's almost necessary, and I think they should build that into every single stage, even if they have to adjust the cost to balance it. But whatever the case, this effect here is not bad, but it really is not ideal either. Right? It's not really what we're trying to do with the deck, so it probably won't see much play. But who knows? Maybe someone will find a version that has a lot of bounce effects, you know, that runs the new Jozu and stuff like that. To get more and more value from it, and maybe there's a version where you run Boa Hancock or something like that. I don't know, where you can start putting cards back. But overall, the fact that it's when one of your characters with Whitebeard Pirates in its name, you know, leaves play from an effect. I don't know. I guess for triggers, it can kind of help you if your opponent has triggers, stuff like that. Interesting, but I'm not a huge fan of it. Not a huge fan. Okay, then like my favorite card, I have talked about this a little bit in the past, and hey, we found a new home for this character, guys. Red Purple Law. This card is very good in Red Purple Law, but it's also very good in Red Blue Marco. So let me read the card real quick and tell you all what it does. It's an 8-cost, 8,000 power character. It is former Roger Pirate, so we're not going to be able to search this up or anything. But on play, choose up to 2 of your opponent's characters, and then until the end of your opponent's next turn, give 1 character minus 3,000 power. So it's going to keep it, if that character survives, it's going to keep minus 3,000 power on their turn as well. And the other minus 2,000 power. So again, minus 3,000 to him, minus 2,000 to him, and they keep that for an entire turn. And then KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a power of 3,000 or lower. Now, as you guys can imagine, with Red Blue Marco, that range goes up to 1,000. So I can hit. So normally with this card by itself, you could pop a 6,000 power character, and then the other characters can have minus 2,000 power for the rest of their turn. Or you can pop a 5,000 power character, and then the other character will have minus 3,000 power. Y'all get what's going on there. But with Marco, you're going to be able to hit a 7 or an 8. Like, it depends on which way you want to distribute the power. But if they have an 8,000 power character on the board, you're going to be able to pop that with your Leader's Effect plus Rayleigh, which is just a 9 Dawn turn. Just 1 Dawn more than what this card says. This card, excellent. Very, very solid. I can't wait to play a deck like this because Rayleigh is my guy. You know, for those who are not aware, I probably talk about it every single video at this point. Rayleigh's my favorite character, and I can't wait to be able to play decks that feature him, and he's very good in the deck. Okay, so good stuff there. Now we got one more spoiler. This one's a little bit off. This one's not exactly what we've been looking at. This is not for Red Blue Marco. This stage here, excuse me, this event here is called People's Dreams Don't Ever End. A black event, 1 cost, Blackbeard Pirates type, okay? Counter, trash 1 card from the top of your deck. If that card has a cost of 6 or greater, up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 5,000 power during this battle. Trigger, play up to 1 black character card with a cost of 3 or less from your trash. There's one little detail there, because people have been wanting to know what color is the leader Blackbeard going to be whenever they finally release one. And I think we got a pretty good clue with this one. I mean, who knows? Maybe not, but I'm pretty sure the leader's going to have either, it's either going to be a leader that is of the black card pool or black plus another color. So just, I had to share that because that came out today right before I started doing this video. I was like, oh, I better include that. That'll be fun. You guys tell me what y'all think about that. Who is excited for a Blackbeard Pirates leader? That could be really, really awesome. But this is from OP-08 still. Okay, now, shifting gears a little bit. We're done with all the spoilers. We know what to expect. We know what the new cards do for the most part. Now let's look at some decks that came from the East, okay? And all of these decks that we're looking at, I think I already mentioned it, but down in the comment section of this video, I will have an entire list of games for you guys to watch if you're interested. Like, oh, well, how does this deck do against an L? How does this deck do against such and such a leader, right? Current leader. Well, I'm going to have a lot of options for y'all to go through down there. And I got these deck lists from those videos. Okay, so these are not decks that I made. These are decks from the East. Okay, so first let's go through this one. We're just going to kind of go through it real quick. We're going to talk over it. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on these because we still have a lot to talk about, guys, and we're already at the 30-minute mark of this video. So real quick, let's talk about the 2K counters first. Otama, great choice, right? Minus 2,000, we want that. Where's the other 2K counter? Jozu. This one's running Jozu, and that's it. That's all their 2K counters they have. Because remember, guys, or you probably can't remember, you probably didn't know, but at the time of all of these videos that have been released, the new Whitebeard Pirates 2K counter did not exist. Okay? So they're going to be able to fit that into their decks now and make the deck even more consistent, more powerful. And I don't know how they're going to do it. Like, maybe they'll go down to 2 Otamas and 2 of the new, what was his name? Kingdu, I think. Maybe they'll do it like that. We'll have to see. There's still plenty of time for playtesting. Okay, other than that, this one's running 4 Izos, 2 Vistas, 2, I think his name is Raikusa or Ryuka, something like that. He has Dawn ×1. If you attach 1 Dawn on your turn, all of your Whitebeard Pirates type characters get plus 1,000 power. I'm not a huge fan of that card. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys there. I'm not a huge fan of this card. Vista, I do like. I do like the Vista, and I think Namuel's okay. And the Namuel he's playing as a 3-up. That's interesting. We talked about Jozu. 4 cost. Okay, I think you're going to see the Marcos in every single deck we see today. 4 cost Marco and 5 cost Marco, so just get used to seeing that. This one's running 2 of the Tempo ace cards. The blue Tempo ace card. Not the blocker, but the one that can cheat in a 4 or less into play or on play if it's the top card of your deck. So that's probably why they're running the Vista and the Namuel and the Ryuka. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name, guys. I'll look it up real quick just so we can move on. Let me get that. All right. Sorry, guys. Y'all just give me 1 second. I'll find it real fast here. Because it is important, you know, since we're doing a full dive into this, you know, Whitebeard, we do need to know what some of the older cards do, because I can't remember this guy's name, but I know what he does. I just can't remember his name, unfortunately. Okay, it's coming up now, guys. Sorry. And I will say this, even though we're looking up, you know, whatever he is right now, I actually would not run this card. Okay, let me go out of full screen here. His name is Rakuyo. Let me make sure y'all can see it. Very nice. So this card here, like I said, 3 cost 4K 3 cost, 4,000 power, 1k counter, Whitebeard Pirates, dawn times 1, your turn. All your characters with a type, including Whitebeard Pirates, gains plus 1,000. Okay, we looked that up to probably never see it again because I don't know how many decks are running this, and I don't suggest it. Okay, but at least we know what it does. We know its name now, Raikuyo. Next up is Ace. This is 7 costs. We know what he does. I would expect to see the Marcos, the Aces, the Jozu 2k counter in every, and I mean every single deck, guys, all of them. 2 of the Rayleigh card, very solid. 2 of the 9 cost Whitebeard, and 4 of the 10 cost Whitebeard. I actually think they got that number backwards. I would run 4, and I am running 4 of the 9 cost, or I think I'm running 3 or 4 of the 9 cost, and then I think I'm only running 2 of the 10 cost. 4 of the Searcher card that can search up your Whitebeard Pirates or Luffy. 2 Seaquakes. This is very interesting. I do have to bring that card up as well for the newer players who don't know what it does, because this card can pop a 3,000 power or less card. Okay, 3,000 power or less. Let me get it right here. I just messed everything up. Sorry, guys. So here it is. This is a Whitebeard Pirate searchable card. 1 cost. Trigger is give up to one of your opponent's leaders or characters minus 3,000 for the turn, so that's really nice as well. But main, if your leader includes Whitebeard Pirates, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 3,000 power or less. That is very nice because with our leader effect, so that's a 2 Dawn investment, we can pop a 5k. Okay, very, very good stuff there. Let me move this back over, bring this back up. What else? He's running the Seaquakes. He's also running Fire Fist. This one gives minus 4,000 power for the turn, and then you can KO a 0 power character. It doesn't have to be the character that you gave minus 4,000 power to. Okay? And I think the Trigger does the same thing. Let me bring up Fire Fist real quick. All right. And this one, I believe, is Revolutionary Army, unfortunately. Yeah, this one is Revolutionary Army. Let me show you guys real quick. Don't worry, we do have to go over some of these. 2 costs, like I said. Trigger activates the main effect. But the effect is main, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 4,000 power. Oh, and then I almost forgot. If you have 2 or less life cards, then you can KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 0 power or less. So it's not bad. That is not bad. I don't like that it's not searchable. I would almost rather run Crossfire there than that card, because Crossfire can just give minus 4,000 power, and it's a main or a counter. Let me show you that real quick, guys. Sorry. Don't worry, we won't do this for all of them. Like, we're getting some of the cards out of the way we really need to talk about. Crossfire, this is Whitebeard searchable, 2 costs, main or counter. If your leader's Whitebeard Pirates, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 4,000 power during this turn. Now, you can't target leaders, but still, I kind of like this better for the utility and the searchability. Okay, and then it's running 1 Red Rock. Very solid there. By the way, Red Rock is a Straw Hat searchable card. So again, there's probably... in the future, we might need to dabble with like a red-blue Whitebeard Pirates Straw Hat Crew, alliance card or alliance deck, where it's going to be that could be very interesting. Okay, other than that, everything looks pretty solid. We know what all the rest do. We've already gone over it, and this is the general direction. Because again, notice this: we've got 1 cost cards, 3 cost, 5 cost. Now this one has 7 right here with Ace, and then 9. It's not the only 4 cost card it's really running is the Marco. Not really running 6 cost. Because the odd curve is more important, technically speaking, because, first of all, the cards are more powerful, like at least in this deck, right? And second of all, you can just play the odd curve if you go second as well, while combining it with your leader's effect. Okay. All right, let's keep going. Sorry, guys, my beard is just destroying my nose right now. It's tickling me. Okay, next up, here's another deck. Let me zoom in a little bit for us. There we go. Let me make sure y'all can see this. Let me make sure I didn't mess up anything. I'll move my face for a minute. Okay, so this one here, this one is very similar. It's running 4 Izo, 4 Otama. This one's running 4 Kaya and 4 Jozu. So this one's running a 12 2K counter package, and I can almost guarantee you that this Kaya is probably going away for the new Whitebeard searchable 2K counter. Again, I think his name was King Deal. So you can expect to see that card take the place of the Kaya. But Kaya is still a very good card in that spot. It's running 4 of the Marco. It's running 4 Jozu, 4 Thatch, 4 of the 5 cost Marco. Again, obviously, like I said, you should expect that to see that like pretty much for the rest of the day. 4 Marcos, 4 of both of the Marcos. Now this one's only running 2 of the 7 cost Ace. That is ill-advised, I will say. I don't know why you would not run 4 of the Ace card. It's just that powerful because it gives minus 3,000 power to 2 characters, and it has Rush in this deck. I can't imagine not running 4 of this card, but that's all right. You know, he can do it however he wants to. This one's running 4 of the 5 cost Tempo Ace. I'm just going to call it the blocker Ace and the Tempo Ace. That's just what I'm going to call the 5 cost blue Ace cards. 2 Seaquakes, 3 of the Jozu card that can bounce cards, which is pretty nice, pretty solid. Because in this deck, you'll be able to bounce back Izo, Otama, Kaya, you know, and get your value back from these cards while bouncing your opponent's character back. That's very nice. Like I said, 2 aces, 4 Rayleighs. And now, as you guys know, I love Rayleigh, but I don't think we should be running 4 Rayleigh. I think we should be going down to 2 or 3 of them in this deck, and it ends up being like your 10 Dawn or your 9 Dawn or 10 Dawn play, where it's like, okay, I'm going to combo this with my leader's effect, and I'm going to pop a 8,000 power character or lower, and then give another character, you know, a huge disadvantage for next turn, or if it's tapped, I can smash into it. 4 of the 9 cost Whitebeard, I 100% agree with this. I think 3 or 4 is fine for this one, but I would go down to 2 of the 10 cost Whitebeard. That's just my personal opinion. So the first revision I would make to this list is -1 Rayleigh, -1 Whitebeard, -1 Whitebeard. So it'd be 3, 3, and 2 for these bottom cards. That's, you know, that's 8 massive cards. I'd put 2 of this ace in, and then I'd probably go up a Seaquake or go up something like a Radical Beam. Because one thing we need to talk about as well, guys, is how are we going to protect our Marco if we only have 2 events? That is something we need to take into consideration, and I will talk about that more when we get into the actual list that I'm running for today. We have to be able to protect our 5-cost Marco. This requires you to discard a event to protect it. Now, the 4-cost Marco up here, you have to be at 2 life, but you can trash any Whitebeard Pirates type card, and he's saved. But 5-cost Marco requires a stage to be trashed in order to save it. Okay? Let's keep going. All right, so this one's kind of a fuzzy picture. I'm also going to turn my face back on here. Okay, yeah, not the greatest picture, guys. I do apologize. Yeah, I actually got to take my face off, guys. Hang on. Face. And the next 3 are all going to look like this one. Don't worry, we'll go through it very quickly. Notice the 4 Otamas. We're seeing the 4 Izos. This one's only running, it's running 4 Jozus and only 2 Kayas. 4 of the 4-cost Marco. Only 2 of the 5-cost Marco. That to me is wild. This card is so good. And he's even running 8 events down here to protect it. Very interesting. 1 Pudding. I like that. You know, it's nice to have the 1 or 2 of spot for tech cards, and this is a great tech card. So you guys know what I think about this card right here. This card right here. Yeah, I can't stand that card, but it is so good. Why would you not run it? It's running 4 of the 5-cost Blocker Ace. This is not running the Tempo Ace. It's running the Blocker Ace. And then it's running 4 of the Jozu card, 3 Ace. I can see 3 Ace minimum, but not 2 like the last deck. 3 Rayleigh, perfect. 4 of the 9-cost Whitebeard and none of the 10-cost Whitebeard. Instead, it's running the 9-cost Sanji to combo with the Whitebeard. I'm a huge fan of this list, what they're doing here. I like everything about this list except this card right here. I would go up to 4 of these. He's running 2 of the Bad Manners Kit Course, great choice, 4 Rad Beams, and 2 of the Revolutionary Army, what's it called? Oh my goodness, I just had it up. I was just talking about it. I can't remember the name. The Fire Fist. Okay, and if you want to see what NL's running over at OP-08, here's a good list to take a look at, but it's pretty much the OP-07 list, judging by the looks of it. Okay, next one, like I said, so notice the difference in this list. We're not going to spend much time on it. There's no difference in this list, and this was versus a Boa deck. And then this one, though, look at this. This is the one I like the best from this guy. I don't know the names of any of these guys. They're all from the East. They're all big content creators from the East. This list I like a lot better because look what he decided. He's decided, like, you know what? I'm going to go 4. I'm going to 4 Marcos, 4 Rayleighs, and just straight up, you know, no 9-beard. Now, I would make a slight adjustment to this list. I would 100% take down 1 Rayleigh. I would 100% take down probably 2 Jozus and go up to 3 of the 9-cost Whitebeard because it's such a perfect counter with your Sanji. But still, other than that, these lists were pretty much identical. We'll keep going from there. Okay, now these are in a weird format because, guys, understand, I'm just taking a screenshot of these, like whenever the deck list flashes from the video. So that's why these are all in just strange, weird formats. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this one. Now, this list is pretty unique because it's running the 3-cost Doflamingo. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I do understand as well. I do get it. But what I don't get, or excuse me, he is running this down here. I was going to say, what's going on? Because if you're going to run the Doflamingo, you have to run the 5-cost Tempo version of Ace over the blocker. But other than that, you know, 4 Izos. It's got the 4 Otama and 4 Jozus. That's just the 2K counter package it had back then. This was before the King Do, so, you know, bear with these guys. You know, don't make fun of them too bad, right? 4 of the both Marcos, very solid. 4 Seaquake, 4 Radical Beam. I like that they're running 8 events. Just like in the last list that we looked at, running 8 events, I feel like you have to have at least 8 events if you want to be able to protect this Marco in any way, shape, or form. You kind of just have to, right? Marco, the 4-cost Marco is much easier to defend once you get down to 2 life. Now, this is running Atmos. Since it's running the whole Doflamingo Pirates plus Tempo Ace version of the list, Atmos is just a great 4-cost Whitebeard Pirate card that you can cheat into play. Very, very solid. 4 of the 7-cost Ace, 100%. This one's running 2 Sanji and 4 Whitebeard. I get it 1,000,000%. I actually like that a little bit better, the 2 and 4 instead of 3 and 3. Because Sanji, for the most part, is kind of dead if you don't have something to counter with it. Like, yeah, you can still cheat out like an Ace. It's not like that's a bad combo. But you really want to get maximum value out of it from something like a Whitebeard. Good stuff here. Big fan of this list. Looks good. Okay. Let's go on to the next one. Now, this one, again, sorry about the formatting, guys. It's just however I could take pictures of them on YouTube. So this list here, that's 4 Ezo. It's just an alt-art Ezo. 4 of the Sanji. This one's running 4 Sanji and 4 Whitebeard. That's pretty interesting. I don't know how much I agree with that. I think that's a little much, but it's not bad either. You know, you can, well, we'll have to see what you can get away with, right? Like that's the point we're at in this with this deck. It is completely unexplored. We have to see what we can get away with. It's running 4 of the Dofi. It's running 4 of the blocker Ace. It's not even running the setup Ace, the Tempo Ace, which is really interesting if they're going to run Dofi. But one other thing I do want to mention is this might be a very, very early version of the list. I don't have the exact dates on all these, but this might be a month-old list before they had any of the new cards that we saw today, right? So we do have to give them a little bit of leniency here. Other than that, 4 Otama, 4 Jozu works out just fine. The King Du 2K counter was definitely not out when this was released. 4 of the 7-cost Ace. 4 Vista, I do like that a lot. Because with the Leader's Effect, guys, Vista with the Leader's Effect is a 3-cost. It's basically a 4-cost 3K, 1K counter that pops a 5,000 power character. Like, that's really not bad. And it's Whitebeard searchable, of course. So, good stuff other than that. Really good stuff here. Only 4 events, though. Or excuse me, 6. Only 6 events. I would like to see more of those. Okay, now for this one was obviously against one of the Gecko Moria lists. This one is running 8 events. Okay, that's what I like. I want to see bare minimum 8 events in whatever list we're putting together if we're going to run the 5-cost Marco. Because, number 1, Radical Beam's just a good card, right? It just is. And on top of that, you know, number 2, it's going to help us protect our 5-cost Marco. Now, this one's running 4 Jozu, 4 Otama. It's running 4 Thatch, 4 of each of the Marcos, 4 Ezos. It's running all of the Aces. Look at that. It's running both 5-cost Aces and the 7-cost Ace. No Sanji in this list, but it's running 2 Whitebeards and 4 of the 10-cost Whitebeard. Excuse me. I like the 10-cost Whitebeard, and it is true, like, once you start, like, laying them down one after another, they are very, very powerful. They are really, really strong. But I would rather just go back-to-back of the 9-cost Whitebeard almost. That's just me personally. Especially when, remember, guys, the 9-cost Whitebeard has another effect. For those who are not aware or who have not played the game long enough or whatever, or who have forgotten, 9-cost Whitebeard can literally... Let me put my face back on now, since it doesn't matter on the other side. Guys, the 9-cost Whitebeard can actually pop a 5,000 power character in this deck with your Leader's Effect. So for 3 Dawn investment, right? So you have your 9-beard on the board, 1 Dawn on your Leader, 2 Dawn on your Whitebeard. For a 3 Dawn investment, you can pop a 5,000 power character for, you know, easily. If you combo that with an Otama, now you're popping a 7,000 power character. I don't think that... I mean, shoot, even if... Imagine comboing that with, like, Ace or with... Actually, Ace is the only... You couldn't do it with Rayleigh, unless you didn't use your Leader's Effect. But like if you combo with Ace and your Leader, that's a 3 Dawn investment plus the 7 for the character. Then you'll be able to hit a 3, 6, 8,000 power character just by attacking with Whitebeard. And you're swinging for 12k and 6k with your Leader and 7k with your Ace. I don't know. I think that's very, very strong, and I think that should be a major focus in what we're doing when we're going to make this deck. Okay. Other than that, everything's pretty much the same. I think we're almost done, guys. We're almost done with all the deck lists. Okay, everything here is pretty similar. It's running 4... The other list was not running 4 Atmos, was it? Let me see something. It was not. It was running all of the Aces. This one's still running all the Aces. But this version is not running the 10-cost Whitebeard. So it's running 4 of the Atmos to cheat into play with the 5-cost Tempo Ace. 2 Sanjis. I really like that. It's still running 8 events. I'm fine with that. And it's running 2 of the 6-cost Jozu, and it's running 4 of the 9-cost Whitebeard. I actually like this list. I don't know which list came out first. Let me see something. Yeah. I don't know if this list came out first or this one, but I can tell you right now, I like this one much better. I like this list a lot better. It's actually very close to what I'm running. I'm just not running the Atmos plus Tempo Ace package. Okay, and I don't think I'm running the one-cost Whitebeard Searcher either. Okay, I think this is the last list here. This is almost identical to what we just saw. Yeah, this one's actually running... This one is the exact same list we just saw, but instead of running... It's running three Sanjis. What is it missing? It's not running the two Jozus. Instead of running the two Jozus, it's going up one Sanji, and it's going up one 5-cost Marco. So there you go. Very solid. This might even be my favorite list we've seen so far, other than the... Well, I don't know. It's hard to say. I've seen a lot of them, but these are definitely getting closer to what I'm working with. Okay, so that's it for the slideshow. Now we're going to go into a game on the sim. I actually got one game in on the sim, running Red Blue Marco. Let me move my face before I forget. And this is a pretty interesting game. Nothing too crazy. This was just a quick game on the sim. Let me make sure we're at 2x speed. And I went to go first here. I don't know if I picked to go first or if my opponent picked to go second. But whatever the case is, going first is not the worst thing in the world. But notice I made a mistake right away. Hang on, guys. We actually have to go back. Do y'all see? I'm going to pause. I just passed the turn back to my opponent. Do y'all see the mistake I made right away? I did not use my leader's effect. So even though this is a mid-range deck, and a lot of times people associate the mid-range decks with just easier decks to play, well... This one's going to have a little bit of complexity to it. It's going to have a little bit of math to it. And, you know, you're going to have to remember to do things in the correct order and sequencing and all that. And you're going to have to remember to use your leader's effect every turn that you can, even on turn 1. Because all I had to do was attach one Dawn and I can move cards around. I could bottom deck that 10-cost Whitebeard right now and just get it out of the way. But instead I forgot and messed up. But this is my first time playing the deck. So let's be gentle, guys. Be gentle. Be nice. So they get a turn 1 leader effect plus Ezo. They're off to the races. This was a very good start for my opponent. I did not even get the card. So now I just go ahead and swing for 8 because I have no follow-up play there. I didn't draw my Ezo. I didn't draw my Haruta. I'm actually running Haruta. So here we go. We got a Seaquake. I'm not going to use that right now. Right now, I'm just going to swing for 5 with my leader, and then I'm going to pop something with my 5-cost Marco. I want the Marco on the field because, first of all, it has resilience. So against a black deck, against a deck like Marco, decks like... Now, it has no resilience against red-purple law, right? Because it bottom decks. Okay, he's swinging for 5 here. I'm not going to use that event, obviously. But he plays out the Tempo Ace that throws out a Marco. That was pretty nice, right? He just got a 5-cost 6K and a 4-cost 5K. One's a blocker. You know, that's pretty good. That's a pretty nice little combo there, I'm not going to lie. But that's okay. The game's not over. I'm going to swing 7 into Thatch. And remember, his effect doesn't work if it's like battle KO. It only works if you KO it from an effect. So I'm going to swing 7 more into him here, and I'm going to drop my 4-cost blocker. He takes that. I use my leader effect. I'm going to, arrange my cards. I just keep that 5-cost card on top. I'm going to minus 2,000 to his blocker so that way he can't do anything special here. Well, I already swung. Sorry, guys. Okay, so right here, I play out the Marco, and now it's my opponent's turn. Sorry, I got a little mixed up there. I was about to go on. I'm going to go on a small rant real quick. I'm sorry. Bottom decking, guys, I've talked about it before, but I feel like it really hurts certain decks in this game. It hurts every deck in the game, but like certain of the decks in the game would be so much better if bottom decking did not exist. And I would be fine if it was bounced back to hand, because that could still deal with cards, that cannot be KO'd. But man, when you bottom deck a card, that is just brutal. I'm not going to go on too much of a rant right now, but I do hope they address that in the future, because a deck like this might be unplayable in the format. Not unplayable. I mean like in a competitive sense, if red-purple law is just taking over. Because all of our cards, like look at this, we have a Marco that can cheat death. We have the other Marco that can cheat death. That guy had a 4-cost Thatch that can kind of cheat KO. But it's like, nope, doesn't matter. Bottom deck, it's out of here. Okay, end rant. Sorry, guys. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. I understand it's there for a balance reason, but hopefully y'all know what I'm saying. Okay, so he KOs my Marco. I just trash an event to save it. Okay, you're going to swing for 7. Okay, 2K counter. Because, okay, oh, sorry, guys. I missed a massive interaction there. Y'all have to see this real quick. Okay, he reduced the power of my Marco by 2,000 with his leader's effect and swung for 6. Understand something. I'm going to try to teach you guys something real quick for the newer players. When your characters leave whatever zone they are in, all status effects that were attached to them are gone. So watch this. I let him KO the character by trashing an event. Now watch what happens when my guy comes back. He's coming back with no minus 2,000 power. Did y'all catch that? It doesn't work like, because once I went to the graveyard or the trash and came back, he lost the minus 2,000 power for the turn. So very, very important to understand little interactions like that. They're very, very important. So he plays out that Ryuka card, gives his field plus 1,000. I just don't care about that card, and it's an easy pop target now for my Seaquake. I'm going to just put one on, this is going to be a big turn. I think it's the turn I play Ace. Yeah. So I've got 9 Dawn available. So I'm going to minus 3 to that guy, minus 3 to this guy, leader effect, minus 2,000 to Ryuka, and I'm just going to start annihilating his board. I'm taking a little bit of extra time here because I'm getting used to a new deck. I'm getting used to a deck that I've not played yet. So swing 6 into 3. That card's out of here. So I'm going to pop the first. I'm going to attack with everything, and I'm going to pop that Ryuka with the Seaquake. Okay, 7. He gives me his blocker. We'll take it. Get rid of that card, and now he's left with nothing. I've got 3 2K counters in hand. I've got a strong board. He uses this turn to play out his Edward Newgate. Very nice. I'm going to block and just throw away a 2K counter, get my blocker back. Marco is very good, guys. In this deck, I do think you want to take life fairly aggressively down to 2. Once you're at 2 life, your Rad Beam's turned on, your Marco's turned on. A lot of effects are turned on like that. Okay, swing 7 into 9. He 1K counters out. Swing 7 into 7. Or swing 7 into 7. He 1K counters out. Swing 7 into 7. He 1K counters out again. He plays, then I pass turn. He is going to minus 3,000 my 2 Marcos. He's going to try and pop them. That's what's happening right here. Okay, let's see what he does. Look at that. Whew, that's a nice interaction there. I can still save my Marco, but now I can't block with my Marco. So when he does that, I go ahead and save my Marco here, I believe, by trashing the Jozu. Okay, I take that hit to life. Now he has to decide what he wants to KO. 6 into 5, that's a 2K counter. 7 into 5, that's a Radical Beam. And now I pretty much have full control of this game, right? So watch this interaction, guys. Use my leader effect, set my card, minus 2,000 to your Marco. Swing, gosh, sorry guys. Swing for 12 with my Newgate, KOing his Marco. The Marco will not come back into play active. It will come back into play rested. So my 12K attack is going through, and I still have 4 other attacks. You know what I mean? This guy's in bad shape here. Okay, so he takes it. He brings the Marco back for whatever reason, but I'm going to swing 9 because he has 2 cards in hand. Now we're swinging 11, GG. That was a really good game there. He had no way out, though. It was calculated at the end. Very fun deck. It's actually, for being a mid-range deck, this is like a very complicated, like complex, high skill level mid-range deck, in my opinion. Some people might say it's on the verge of control. Shoot, some people might make it into an aggro deck if they go red-blue Strawbeard, right? But the way that I'm playing it, the way that I built the deck, I built it with mid-range in mind, controlling my opponent's board, and just winning over the course of the game in a very steady manner, very steady tempo. Okay, now let's go ahead and check out the deck list. We're almost done, guys. I know this has been a long video, and we're gonna talk about the list. First of all, the list that I'm running, and then I'll go from there. Let me move my face. There we go. Okay, so of course the leader we already talked about. So I'm running 4 Otama, 3 Newgate, 4 Jozu, 4 7-cost Ace, 4 Marco, 4 Izo. I'm running 4 Haruta because if you guys watch some of the games, in some of the games that are going to be linked down in the comment section below, some people were running Haruta. Well, that's a perfect interaction with Marco. Attach 1 Dawn to our leader for free, 1 rested Dawn to our leader for free every turn. Seems good, right? And he has a 2-cost 3K body. That's not irrelevant. 1K counter in hand. Whitebeard Pirate searchable. But then I'm also running 4 Marco, the 5-cost, 3 Sanji, 3 of the blocker Whitebeard. I don't run any of the tempo Whitebeard. I'm not saying it's bad. I would rather not run it. 3 of the 10-cost, the new 10-cost blue Whitebeard. 4 Radical Beams, 2 Seaquakes, 2 Fire Fists. This is the 3-cost trash event to pop 2 cards off the board. I'm experimenting with this. I'm not fully sold on this one just yet. And then 2 Bad Manners Kit Course. Okay, so first and foremost, what will change, like probably as soon as I can, is I'll probably drop down one of these, the 10-cost Whitebeards, and I don't know. I need to find the balance. Let me just say this: I'll probably drop 1 Sanji, 1 of the 10-cost Whitebeards, and I will go up down to 2 of the Otama to go up to 4 of the new 2K counter. Y'all see what I did there? I removed 2 cards from the deck and 2 cards from Otama, so that there's only 2 Otamas, and I have 4 free spots, and that's going to be 4 of the new King Do 2K counter. because I do think that card is very good, guys. Let me just go to that card real quick. Sorry, guys, I'm blasting through these for y'all as fast as I can. This guy. This is probably the card that will go in the deck immediately because it's a 4 cost, 4,000 power, 2K counter, Whitebeard searchable with a decent effect. If you reveal 2 Whitebeard cards, you can give this character plus 2,000 for the turn. So I can swing with this guy late game if I need to. So that's not horrible. But that will go into the deck as soon as I can get it in there. Or maybe even go down to 2 Jozus and keep 4 Otamas to go up to the 4 King Doos. We'll have to see, because most of the time, Jozu, I mean, it is nice to be able to have that rush effect, that can win you games, but I feel like I've only used that maybe once or twice ever to win a game. You know what I mean? We'll have to see. Maybe I end up going 3 and 3 and then 4 Otamas. We'll have to figure it out. I'm a big fan of this ace, even though I don't think you got to see it in my game. It's kind of like, how do I say this? This is the card that I want to play on turn 3. Okay, if I'm going first, I want to play it. If I'm going second, I want to play it. Okay, if I can play this card on turn 3, like let's just think about what can happen there. First of all, in a perfect world, it could be like, you know, Marco, turn 1, if you're going first. Turn 1, go Ezo or use your leader effect. Turn 2, when you have 3 Dawn, you can use your leader effect and drop out either an Ezo again or another Ezo is what I meant to say, or a Haruta. Haruta is perfect because then what you can do, well, actually, it still doesn't work out perfectly, does it? Because you have to attach a rested card to get this off on turn. How do I say this? You cannot combo Haruta with Marco to play this with 5 Dawn and do it the correct way, because you have to attach a rested Dawn. So you'd have to play out the Marco first to pop a 3,000 or less, and then you could use the rested Dawn with Haruta to attach to your leader. So that's not exactly a match made in heaven, but it still is very good. It still has a lot of potential, and I do still like this card quite a bit. But I don't know what I was saying. Oh, that's right. So what I was saying was I would always rather play this on my 5 Dawn or 6 Dawn turn over Ace. Now, I still want Ace in the deck for later in the game as a blocker, right? And it's a 5-cost blocker, which is relevant. So 200 million volts of Maru cannot tap this card down. Yes, Perona's going to find ways to tap this card down. Any deck running black will find a way to KO this or tap it down. But we do also have the 4-cost Ace blocker over here as well. We're running a pretty solid defensive package, especially if we can drop Newgate, go up to 7,000 power. But 4 Rad Beams and 2 Bad Manners Kit Course, there's a lot of potential there. And that's pretty much the entire list. This Fire Fist, pause right here and read it if you don't know what it does. I'm still messing with this card. This is just an open spot in the deck, to be completely honest. It's Whitebeard Pirate searchable, and you can pop a 5,000 and a 4,000 power character. So with your leader effect, for 4 Dawn, you could pop a 7,000 and a 4,000, or a 5,000 and a 6,000. But you do have to trash an event from your hand. So if I do decide on keeping this, I might need to go up to maybe, like right now I'm at 10 events, maybe I need to go up to 12 to feel a little more comfortable with using that. But that's not the worst thing in the world either, right? Because we are running 4 of the 5 cost Marcos, so they double over as protection later in the game. I do really like that. But other than that, the deck was running very, very good. Now, real quick, we do need to talk about Straw Hats being added into a list like this, okay? Because if you decide, you know what, I want to make this deck way more aggressive, there are some options, right? Because we have the Rush Zoro. We already have Sanji. Sanji is Straw Hat Crew searchable. So is Rad Beam. So is Bad Manners Kit Course. All 3 of those that I just said are the Sanji, the Rad Beam, and the Bad Manners Kit Course. All of these are already searchable for Nami, right? And on top of that, there are other cards we can continue to add to the deck as well, like Luffy. I don't know. There's a lot of different cards, guys. We'll have to go through them all like one by one. We might not do that in this video in particular. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. But there are some cards we can add that can really help this package out. Because let's just mess around with it for a second. And again, I'm not going to like play any games with it, but I just want to show you guys, if we get rid of the 10-cost Whitebeard, if we actually go down that Ace, because I don't think we need that as much, we'll keep 3 Sanji since now it would be searchable, and we'll even drop the Fire Fist and sit at 8 events, even though that's a little low for our Marcos. That's okay. Because from there, we can go up 4 Namis. We can also start talking about Chopper. That's a Straw Hat Crew card as well, and it's a blocker. Right, and since we just dropped those 3 aces, maybe we do go up to 3 choppers, because this has power reduction to help us combo with our leader to KO whatever we want to, with cards like Whitebeard, with cards like 5-cost Marco. It just has a lot of potential. Maybe we'll go to 2 of those. But from here, we can go up to like 2 Luffys, and at that point, maybe we do drop the Haruta and we go up for Zoros. Y'all see what's going on here? Like, this list all of a sudden is like an absolute beater. This is Whitebeard Pirates, or Strawbeard, you know, but with a little bit of extra support for later in the game. Like a slightly more defensive version of that, you know, the Strawbeard deck. And notice it is almost completely red at that point. But yeah, it's just an idea. I'm not saying this is the way to go. I'm just trying to give you guys some ideas. Let's do some brainstorming, some theory crafting, and things like that. But otherwise, like this is the list that I think is best currently until we figure out something else. And like I said, the immediate thing that I would do to this list is drop one of these 10 cost Whitebeards, one of these Sanjis, and then two of these 2K counters. Actually, maybe I just drop one Jozu and then go up the other 2K counter. Like, let me type in. I'm going to put Kaya in its place because the sim is not updated with the cards that came out today. Obviously, like, how could you expect that, right? But let's just pretend that this Kaya is the 4-cost. Actually, let me do it like this. We'll remove Kaya and we'll put a 4-cost card there that represents Kingdu. So let's just pretend this new Crocodile's Kingdu. So right away, now I'm dealing with 10 2K counters. And then at that point, maybe I actually get rid of the Fire Fist. I don't know. We'll have to see. I have so much more playtesting to do, guys. I'm sorry if this video is all over the place, but that's kind of the point of this video, right? The point of videos like this is like, this is a new, unexplored leader that no one has ever seen before. So let's do what we can, you know, to make this work. I got to put Kai in there for now, just because if someone were to take a screenshot, I'd be like, look, this guy put Crocodile in there. I know y'all wouldn't do that, but y'all know what I mean. It's just like mentally, my mind's going crazy over it. I do want to know what you guys think. First of all, like, y'all tell me what y'all think about some of the new cards. Do you think the 10-cost blue Whitebeard is worth running? Or do you think this combo with Sanji and 9-cost red Whitebeard is just better? Because I personally am favoring that. Because I think one thing I would eventually do is maybe drop the other Newgate, stick to the 2-3 package here, the 5-9-cost card package, and now I've got 2 spots that are open that I can kind of do what I want with. I can go up 2K counters if I need to. I can put in more beaters if I need to, stuff like that. Maybe put in the 5-cost ace that does provide some tempo, or even one of the new cards we haven't messed with yet that came out today. Like, let me go to the events. There was a, I don't know if this one came out today, but no, it didn't. This one came out a while back, but still, like, this is a new card worth considering. You know, main, if your leader's Whitebeard Pirates, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 card with Whitebeard Pirates included in its types, or Luffy, Monkey D. Luffy, and put it into your hand. Then place the rest on the top or bottom in any order. Trigger, draw a card. Maybe that ends up going in the deck, and then maybe we do run it. Where's Luffy at? Let me find Luffy. Maybe we run a 2 of Luffy at that point. Just a way to beat through your opponent's last line of defense. Like, if they put up a bunch of blockers with no life, okay, well, I'll just play out like 2 of these and just, like I said, just go straight through them, run straight over them. Something to think about. Again, we're really open to some theories right now. We're trying to figure out what's the best way to build this deck. Is 8 2K counters going to be enough? Or should we go up to 10 or 12 2K counters? Do we run the 9-cost Whitebeard alone, or do we run the 9-cost and the 10-cost Whitebeard? Because I will say that right now, guys, I do not think... I think we have to run the 9-cost Whitebeard. I just think the card is that good, especially it combos perfectly with our leader. You know what I mean? I don't see any reason not to run this. And it's perfect with Sanji. So, I don't know. Sorry, guys. I'm all over the place right now, but we have a lot to really think about here. But that's kind of... I will say that is, for the most part, where I'm going to leave the list, leave the deck at. I'll bring up Whitebeard Pirates real quick, because we did check out Straw Hat Crew. Most of these cards, we already know what they do. Now, Izo's interesting, but the crappy part about Izo, like, yeah, you can put $1 on your leader immediately when you play her, but you can't search her up with Izo, because they're both the same name. And, you know, so you can't, even though she's Whitebeard Pirate, or he or she, whatever's Whitebeard Pirates, you can't actually, you know, use this effect, or you can't search this up with your character searcher Izo, or your Whitebeard Pirate searcher Izo. And this other when opponent attacks turn is only for Land of Wano. Well, actually, excuse me, hang on. You may trash 1 card from your hand if your leader has the Land of Wano or Whitebeard Pirates type. I take that back. So maybe this is a card worth considering, because later in the game, you can trash cards from your hand like Newgate, or like, you know, I don't know, maybe you have a marker you're not going to be able to use for the rest of the game, or you don't have any counter power and you just need to counter and you have an ace in hand. You would actually be able to trash that card with, where is it? With this Izo. and minus 2,000 power one of their characters or leaders for the turn. So maybe there is some potential there. I will say I take that back. Maybe there is some potential there. We'll have to consider that. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments section below. We did get Little Ors Jr. In EB01, and this card cannot be KO'd by an effect once per turn. So, yeah. Instead, you may trash an event or stage from your hand. That's interesting. Because remember I was saying we need to include events to the deck to protect Marco. Maybe at that point we put Little Ors Jr. in as well. And then we have a good 6-cost card to play on curve if we go second. Something to think about. Atmos is definitely worth thinking about if you're going to run the ace that can play cards, that can cheat cards into play like this one right here. That's not a bad idea. That could work as well. Thatch I haven't messed with yet. I'm just not sold on this card, to be honest. If I do go with the 5-cost tempo version of ace, I will absolutely mess with Thatch. Jozu, I'm not sold on this one yet either. But at the same time, I think there's an argument where, like, if we do try like a Strawbeard version of the deck, then this card, let me get rid of this card real quick. This card can just go in the deck as a 2-of for whatever case to bounce back your cards that you want to get more value from, and be able to pop cards off the board that you need to swing through or something. I mean, there's a lot of different things that can be done here. This card has a lot of utility and has a lot of potential, and it's a 6-cost 7K with the counter. There's almost no downside to this card, to be honest, even if you're just playing it as a vanilla. What else? Oh, here was that ace card. Yeah, this is Whitebeard Pirates. I don't know why I even doubted that. This Searcher is something to consider because it's a top 5 Whitebeard Searcher. Trigger, activate the main effect. It's going to get you through cards in your deck very easily. But I do like having, like, the Seaquakes were nice, guys. Like, I was able to pop a card on board with this with the leader effect. Very solid. Bad Manners Kick Course helps out our cards that are normally dead in hand. I do like this card a lot. And Fire Fist is still, it's on the chopping block. I didn't really, I was just trying to put a Whitebeard event here, and this came up, and I'm like, oh, that might be interesting. Help me clear the board out. Because, like I said, with the leader's effect, you could potentially pop some pretty decent-sized targets with this and clear out the board a little bit and start smashing them in the face. There is some potential there. Vista I do like in this deck because, like I said, I would almost see this card as a 4-cost, 3,000 power, 1K counter that pops a 5,000 power character. That's just how I would see this card. It's just very solid with this leader. And if you're going to run any of the ways to cheat cards into play, like the 5-cost ace, where is he? Right here. The 5-cost ace, or that event, the event we looked at. What is it? This one. Like this card, you can actually throw down Vista in if you need to. Something like that. I'm not saying it's like a great combo. I'm just saying it does work. There is some potential there. We already talked about Raikou's a little bit. Whitey Bay, I don't know. Well, this is Whitebeard Pirate's subordinate. This character can also attack your opponent's active characters. Like, that's a cool effect and all, but not really for, I don't know. That's interesting. This is an interesting card because, remember, if we attach one Dawn here, it's a 3,000 power character, and we can attack active characters at that point. Where'd she go? Right. This character can also attack your opponent's active characters. Yeah. And then if we attach one Dawn here, minus 2,000 power to one of their active characters, this card's probably not the worst card in the world, but at the same time, I don't think it's what we're going for. We would have to totally arrange the deck around something like this, attacking active characters. I don't know. Probably not for now. I would say we should avoid that for now. Blominko is definitely not necessary in a deck like this because we have this effect built into our leader. And doubling up on effects like this is not always what we're trying to do. We don't want to combo too much. We just want consistency. Foss is just a good blocker to include if you want to have a more defensive package. Speed Jill is the exact same thing as Atmos in this deck. It's just a 4-cost 6K vanilla 1K counter. Squard, we're not really worried about this one. Give up 20 of your opponent's characters minus 4,000. Yeah. I don't know. On play, if your leader has the Whitebeard Pirates type, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 4,000 power during this turn. Then add the top card of your life area to your hand. Like, it's a little bit, kamikaze style, but at the same time, probably not the worst in the world, but I don't know. I think the deck space is too limited to try something like this. This is a more aggressive version of Fossa. Instead of being a 2-cost 2K with 1K counter, it's a 2-cost 3K with no counter blocker. But that's about it, guys. I don't want to add too much more. There's a lot of cards you can mess around with on here, but I think what we're seeing, like what I showed you guys from the East and what I was playing with, I do think this is the best direction for the deck currently until we maybe find something else. Because there's always a possibility with a deck with a leader like this that has such a broad usage there, just minus 2,000 power for the turn, we don't have to be running Whitebeard Pirates at all. Now, again, there is an advantage to running Whitebeard Pirates because certain cards like Ace, you know, this character is so strong it can only be used in Whitebeard Pirates type decks. And it combos so well with Marco. You know, the Marco leader combos so well with the Marco character. There's a big influence for us. Like, there's the driving factors, you know, that makes us want to run Whitebeard Pirates. But who's to say there's not another version of the deck that we can try in the future that's not Whitebeard Pirates? We'll have to see. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. Okay, I'm done. I'm done rambling. Let's get the patrons page up here. Not too bad. Okay, only about an hour and 15-minute video. Not too bad. Not too bad. Big shout out to all my patrons. Thank you guys so much for helping me in the ways you do. Also, thank you to everyone who likes my videos, shares them, subscribes, comments, just watches my videos. You know, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank y'all so much. The channel just keeps on growing. I feel so blessed. Thank y'all so much. And that's about it for now. Yeah, I've got some announcements coming up in the future here, but I got to wait for those. I got to be patient. We got to wait for those. All right, I'm done, guys. Again, thank y'all so much. Please do not forget to like and subscribe if you've not already. And please do not hesitate to put any comments, questions, suggestions, corrections down in the comment section below. All right, until next time, guys. Peace.